You're listening to the Natalie Parker Studio Podcast, episode number 12. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the 6 steps that you can take to start to build your art business. Let's dive right on in. Welcome to the Natalie Parker Studio Podcast, the podcast for women artists who are ready to pursue their creative dreams so that they can thrive both in life and in business. I'm your host, Natalie Parker, artist and mentor to women creatives around the globe. In this podcast, I'll share with you the strategies, principles, and mindset that you need to build a purposeful and fulfilling creative business. If you're ready to be inspired, encouraged, and equipped to build the art business of your dreams, then you're absolutely in the right place. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey there, artist, and welcome to the show. Can I just say how much I absolutely love to do this podcast for you? I have been getting some incredible feedback that has been coming through either via reviews, via people in my community telling me, or by people sending me DMs on Instagram. And what I love about this is I had no idea the capacity that this was going to have to infiltrate and support so many beautiful creative women around the globe. Like Valerie Revere, who shared this amazing review on Apple, Natalie Parker's ability to teach and communicate her knowledge of what it means to be an artist and businesswoman is truly inspiring. Her podcasts are full of practical wisdom that encourage vision for the artist at any level. And Valerie, I was totally filled with joy when I read that, and here is why. I love that you have identified that these podcasts are practical. Okay, and so for you lovely lady listening, that's what I'm about. I'm not about fluff and wishy-washy. I'm a practical chick. Tell me how to get the job done. So I'm here for that. But more importantly, I love that you've identified that I encourage vision for the artist at any level. So I have a beautiful artist creative guide, and I'll actually pop it in the show notes for you, that shows you the 6 seasons of the artist's creative path. Okay, so you can go and have a look at that. So I love to support artists right from the start through to the flourishing artist season. And a flourishing artist is someone who's selling consistently, they're building a profitable business. So with vision, with building your business, which we're talking about today, I want you to build the art business of your dreams, not of my dreams, not of what you see someone else doing. So that is why I really push into you getting clear about the vision for your business and about what you want. Because the last thing I want for you is to leave your unfulfilling job, or if it is a great job but you're wanting to go into art, to leave that job or to go part-time to build an art business, but to not be clear about what you want for your business and end up having an unfulfilling art business. I'm here to help you create purposeful businesses that are profitable and that fulfill you according to the vision that you have. So thank you so much, Valerie, for that beautiful review. If you love this podcast and you want to go over and leave a review, that would make me so incredibly happy. I love to shout you out and shout your business out on this podcast as well. Simply go to ratethispodcast.com/Natalie Parker. Made it super duper simple. They show you steps of how to leave the reviews. Okay, so you don't have to even figure that out. So today I want to unpack for you, how do we get started building your art business? Is this you? Have you ever dreamed of starting your own art business? And I'm taking it you have, because you're listening to this podcast. But you have no idea how to start or how to make it happen. I absolutely get that. There is not a lot of information out there when I started. There is now a lot of information out there, but it's incredibly overwhelming, right? There's so many different courses and programs that we can take that say go this way, go that way. That is why I was very, very clear when I was building my art business program that it had to be designed around you, so you could take what you wanted and leave what you left. So the challenge, though, that I see for artists is we're not always business minded. There are exceptions to the rule. I mean, if we think about it, we're great at creating. We're great at spending time in our studio and producing our beautiful work. That is our gift. That is what we love, and we want to rock that. But when it comes to the business side, that can be a little bit overwhelming, right? So we tend to kind of pull back and shy away from it. The challenge is what I see a lot of artists do when they decide to go into the art business is they simply quit their jobs or they go part-time and they replace that time that they would have been spending in their job with spending time in their studio simply creating or painting or whatever art medium you're doing. The problem with this method is that you are simply focusing on producing the work, not on building the business. Now, of course, you absolutely need to build a solid body of work to sell, and you should always be working on increasing the value and improving your work, absolutely. However, if you haven't put any business systems into place, your work will simply be amazing and beautiful, of course, but it's going to start to pile up in that studio. And work in the studio does not pay the bills. Sales pay the bills. So, how do you get started on the right track with your art business? I'm going to share with you today the 6 steps that give you the overarching, holistic, bird's eye view, so to speak, of how to set up your art business. Or in fact, these principles can be used to set up any art business. These are principles that I have used, I've seen my father use, and I've used with my husband as we've built his boxing business. One thing I love to do, and you're going to hear this from me, and you hear it in my intro, is to teach principles. The reason I teach principles to you is because they are time-tested and they will not change. So that means when life happens, when the world goes crazy as it has, things change, you can build your business on simple, time-tested principles that are going to allow you to prosper and thrive regardless of what is going on in the world. And you need that. You need that stability in your business. I am not about teaching you the next trend or the next get-rich scheme. That is not me. I am old school, old-fashioned principles, morals teacher, because it has the results, and I want you to have the results in your business. So with that said, here is step 1 to starting your own art business. It is to get very clear about why you want an art business. Now, many artists skip this step or gloss over it. Most tell me it's because they want to do what they love and generate an income from it. Okay, that's why they want to start their business, and that is cool. I love that. But what they don't do is they don't go any deeper with that. I do not want you, obviously, to be working an unfulfilling job and struggling. No, that is exactly why you want to set up your own art business. But I want you to unpack what happens when you start to ask that question. Why do I want to be fulfilled in what I'm doing? Why do I want an art business to make more money? How is that going to help my family more? Who is this going to allow me to serve? How is having a fulfilling art business going to give me the income that I can use to support other charities? How would having more income and doing what I love change and improve my relationship with my spouse and my relationship with my family? I want you to really dig deep on this to unlock your why. Because when there's a strong conviction to what you are doing, It's going to help you get through the challenging seasons in business, and there will be some. I will not sugarcoat it for you. Now, if you need help with this and getting clear about your vision, getting clear about your why, go back and over and listen to episode 1 where I talk about why you need a vision for your art business. This is the key. What I see people doing is going straight into, I'm going to set up an art business, I'm going to sell my artwork. They get into their studio, they paint, there's no deep purpose, and then guess what happens? Life happens, challenges happens, storms come, the world goes mad, it gets hard. So because there's no deep roots and no deep conviction in why they're building an art business, they fall over, and I don't want that for you. The other reason I really want you to get clear about your why is that's going to help you build that business that you love. It's going to help you make the right business decisions about where you want to go. You do not want to go into an art business and build it and then end up with another business or another job that is not fulfilling you. So get very, very clear about your why. Step number 2 to building an art business is to decide what your business will look like. Your business. Okay, not my business, not someone else's down the track. Of course, you absolutely go have a look, take inspiration, put it all together, but think about, what do you really want? What products or services will you sell? So are you going to do originals? Are you going to do commissions? Are you going to do prints? Are you going to get into art licensing? Are you going to get into running online courses and teaching and doing workshops? How much money do you want to make from your art business? How often do you want to work? Do you want to be the only person in the business, or do you want to get help and support to help you scale the business larger? Who's your ideal client? Where will your studio be? Will you work from home? Will you have a gallery? Will you get a space, a communal studio space perhaps outside? These are all these specific questions. The clearer you get about the why and what it's going to look like, the more you're going to build that dream art business that you want. A great exercise for this is to imagine your life or a day in the life of you as an artist. Go steps, years ahead. Think about, okay, I'm now running a successful art business. I'm flourishing. What does it look like? When I get up in the morning, what am I doing? Am I, going for my exercise? I don't have a time pressure when I have to come back. Am I having my coffee? Am I checking my emails? Am I saying goodbye to my family? Am I going into my studio? Am I, setting up a beautiful still life in my studio, doing some painting? Am I responding to questions and DMs? Am I sending off contracts? Am I going to a local gallery to hand in my work? Am I packaging my work? Am I filming episodes for other students? Am I doing podcasts, inspiring? You can see it just unpacks and unpacks. Okay, so get very clear about what you want it to look like. Once you've done that, step number 3 is to write down the plan and commit to it. There is power in writing things down. A thought or an idea or a dream is simply that. It can get lost in our mind, it can skim away. It's kind of like when, it's late at night or you're in the shower, tends to happen to be, this amazing idea comes to me. If I don't write it down, I tend to forget it. When you capture your ideas and write them down on paper, you start to give them a life of their own. You're bringing into existence your dream. And I know for some of you, you've dreamed of building an art business. You may have not told anyone but me. You may have gone through your programs. You might be like, Nat, that's me, but I don't want to share that I want an art business because people are going to mock me. My family doesn't support me. I get it. But I don't want you to hold that in. Get a journal if you can. Start to write this in and start to bring it into existence. Now, my late mentor used to say, I'm not convinced you believe in your dream until you can show me the plan. Now, there is an element of truth in that, right? He was absolutely right. How many dreamers have you met who say they're going to do something, but years later, they're still doing nothing. They're talking about it. They haven't even written down a plan of how to make it happen. I want you to take the time to do this. Now, your plan doesn't need to be, huge and in depth. Don't get all caught up in the, oh my gosh, I need to do this huge marketing business plan. No, you don't. Okay, you'll be very clear about probably the next year or the next 2 years. You can get more specific with your plans. The 5-year, the 10-year, the 20-year, that will look a little bit more broad and specific in terms of the bigger goals. But take that time to write that plan down. Step number 4 is to take action. Now, with the plan that you've written it down in front of you, unless you move, however big or however small, towards executing that plan, it's still going to be a dream that you've written down that looks pretty on paper, but nothing's going to happen. The challenge with this part of taking action is when you've written down the plan of all the stuff you need to do, and I have a terrible habit of doing this myself, we write these huge to-do lists, I get so overwhelmed. So what I've had to do is I've had to break those big goals down into small steps that I can accomplish in a day. So for example, building a website, right? You need a website if you're going to be a professional artist, absolutely. But that is a huge goal. You need to break that down into small steps. It might be, for instance, I'm going to choose the website provider. So I'm going to go Squarespace. Am I going to go Wix? Am I going to go with a WordPress site? The second step might be I'm just going to draft what my front page looks like. And you start to make that manageable and moving towards that. That would be my tip for taking action and getting over that overwhelm. The way you build a business is step by step. Okay, you don't need to learn everything straight away. And that again is why with my Art Business program I designed, it's there for them to refer back to as self-paced study. And what I mean by that is they can come back when they need whatever next step they need in their art business, they can find out how and they can implement it. If I give you my whole blueprint straight away, if you're expected to put, this blueprint that I put inside this program, this is what took me 10 years to put in place. If you try and implement that in 10 weeks, you're going to be incredibly overwhelmed. So take your time and build your business step by step. Take small action. That whole thing of, how do you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. It's exactly the same for building your art business. Step number 5 is to persevere and be patient. Now, I am not the most patient person, but I am incredibly tolerant and can persevere. It has taken me 13 years to get my business to the level where it is. I went through a lot of challenges. Building a business takes time. You're absolutely going to get setbacks and knockbacks. All businesses do, regardless of whether you're an art business, an engineering, a boxing gym, all right? Over the years, I have watched many of my family members persevere through the challenges of building a business. So my father, he ran his own engineering business for over 30 years. It's all he's ever done. He started with building his business when I think I was 3 years old, from our home. So he had a car garage. He started his engineering business there. They then bought a commercial business, which they made even bigger. He built this amazing business, all right, which was able to support 4 of us, 4 siblings, over 30 years. Now, we never, as children, went without anything that we needed. We did at times. My mum would never buy me Billabong or Barker's clothes. I'm still getting over that. But we had everything we needed. Now, I know as I got into my adult life, my parents shared more about it. There are seasons where their business will be financially profiting years, and there'll be seasons when the business is losing money. but they worked through all those seasons and challenges and continued to have a great business when my dad finally retired and sold that business and passed it now on to my younger brother, who again is doing an incredible job of persevering and scaling and building that business even more. I've seen it happen with my husband. Another great example. He's a boxing coach. He started with teaching students one-on-one in a car park building in Wellington. And Wellington is incredibly cold and windy, and the weather is unpredictable. He didn't have a gym or somewhere where he could rent or even afford to rent at that certain time. So he would take his PTs, his private clients, into one of those commercial car park buildings and train them there. He then started working for another gym where he was a coach and a trainer. He then rented the gym from them and ran his own classes. We then took that and we rented our own small space just on the hour, and he built his business from there. And then we took the leap of getting a commercial space of our own in Central City, Wellington, New Zealand, which is not cheap, where he successfully ran his own boxing gym business for 3 or 4 years before we moved over here. And all that time, there were so many setbacks, but he had that perseverance. When challenges came, he figured it out and he moved forward. And this is what we need for building an art business. You need to develop that muscle. You don't actually want your business to grow too fast. The reason for that is you need to have that capacity to handle and to manage those changes. What you don't manage, you will lose. So in everything that I've done in my business, and people used to look at me like I was crazy, when I was emailing out regularly and consistent, regardless of the fact that, I might have had 20, 30 people on my mailing list, I was emailing them and being consistent like I would now in the future, where I have over 3,000 people on my mailing list. Okay, so I'm treating my business like the level that I'm going to. I'm persevering, I'm being patient, I'm showing up, I'm doing that work, I'm managing what I have in front of me really well, developing my business skills, developing my patience, because the perseverance and the patience is what's going to make you a solid business owner that's going to help you build a thriving and profitable business that is not going to get too overwhelming and you're going to just want to pull it back. Okay. Now, step number 6, the final step to building or starting your art business, is to get support and be accountable to someone. Now, I did not do this for a long time. I was that classic independent DIY chick. I'm going to figure this out on myself. I did all the Googles, all the internets, whatever. Until I got support from my business in terms of joining communities, I invested in courses, I got mentors. That is when I really started to scale in my business. Building a business is challenging. It is not for the faint-hearted. If it was, everybody out there would be doing it. We tend to glamorize this idea of entrepreneurship. It has incredible benefits, but it does require you to really up your game. So in doing that, you need that support. I am fortunate that I have an incredibly supportive spouse who I go to on the daily with all of the challenges and to talk things through. You need to find a community to support you, and that is why I created the Confident Brush. If you're in the position where you're needing to build your painting skills first and get your artwork up, that's the support for you. If you're looking at building your art business and you need that support, we have my art business program, and we also have currently running my free Art Biz startup series, which is what I kind of want to talk to you about today. So having gone through these 6 steps, 1 is to get clear about why you want an art business. 2 is to decide what you want your art business to look like. 3 is to write down the plan and commit to it. 4 is to take action, break it down into steps. 5 is to persevere and be patient. And number 6 is to get support and be accountable. So we currently have running right now, and you can jump on in and join us and catch up and go deeper with this training, the 3 Art Biz Startup Series. So in this training, you'll be able to put together a plan, which is what you need, step 3, for your business, which includes why you want an art business, what you want your business to look like, and how you're going to sell your products or services. Now, this training is only available for a limited time, so I'm going to pop the link in the show notes for you. You can go and you can register, you can jump straight in. Training number 1 is there, depending on when you're listening right now, and you can get started straight away. Well, that is a wrap for today's episode. If you'd love to carry on this conversation with me, if you have any questions about anything I've talked in, I love to chat in my DMs. Send me a message at Natalie Parker Studio on the gram. While you're there, take a screenshot of this episode and share it on the gram as well, so I can know you're listening and I can hear about what your biggest takeaway is from today's episode. Coming up next week on the show, I'm going to be sharing with you the best thing I ever did for my art business. And honestly, I was incredibly shocked at the results it gave for me. So I look forward to sharing that with you then. Until then, keep pursuing your creative dream.